Thank you, Pat. I am a member of Prince of Peace Parish, and we have a Right to Life group, and I am one of the representatives. And we have been talking, and particularly God has been planting seeds in me for 40 Days for Life. When I first heard about 40 Days for Life, I saw some signs in Grand Rapids in the area where my parents live, and I didn't really know that much about it. That's all I saw. And the following year, I happened to be talking to my mom and said, what's this 40 Days for Life? And she was telling me, well, for 40 days, you fast, you pray in front of the abortion clinic, and there are people there all the time praying, and their presence is very well known. And I thought, oh, this is very interesting. And I brought it back to the people down in Marsha Kendra, some of you might know, back, and we talked about it a little bit, and that's as far as it went. And last fall, a friend of mine from our Right to Life group went down to Grand Rapids and partook in one of their meetings, their planning meetings that they were having. And that's when it struck me that this is doable, and this is doable for Muskegon, 40 Days for Life. And there are 3 components for 40 Days for Life. The first and most important is prayer, continuous prayer, and fasting, fasting from television or the computer or food or whatever it may be. Those are the 2 strongest components of 40 Days for Life. And the other one is the constant vigil. They go 24 hours a day for 40 days, which is a long time. And you don't have to do 24 hours, and I wouldn't expect us to be able to do 24 hours, but they recommend at least 12. And how they do it is that each church takes a day, and that day we would have a representative or 2 from that church who would be in charge of getting people to pray for those hours and fill that out. So if you think, okay, 40 days is a long time and a lot of commitment to make, if you think one day, one 8-hour, 10 or 12-hour day, praying in front of the clinic. Now the clinic doesn't do abortions every day, but our presence would be there. And one of the other is that constant vigil that does go on, and also is community outreach, that people are aware of what's going on. You can have signs in your yard if you would like. There are signs available. You can put it in your bulletins. You could bring it to your schools. We have, Christian schools in the area, private Christian schools, high schools and grade schools, and bring it to them. They're our future of what life is. And we saw so many walking. There's a bus from the Muskegon area going down to Washington later on, leaving today, and they're going to partake in the march, and they're high school students. There's 2 buses, one from Grand Rapids and one from Muskegon going. So the youth are really excited, and to get them excited. Outreach to our colleges. We have 2 colleges in the area, and what better way to witness to them and be out there and let them know about life, We could wear buttons that say 40 Days for Life. Someone asks you, what's 40 Days for Life? I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you about that. So there's, some really easy things. And, I was looking at this huge thing, 40 days, how are we ever going to do it? And I thought, little steps, 1 step at a time. When we said the prayer today to close the abortion mill, there's a group that goes down weekly and prays every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock down there, and we close with this prayer. And there's 3 lines that always jump out at me when we're there, and that's one of the things that struck me. And one of them is, show us how we are to respond to the bloodshed in our midst. It's also on the back of your program. And how are we going to respond? Not with violence, not with anger, with prayer and standing up. Somebody was talking about when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, and when he said turn the other cheek, he didn't mean, don't do anything. You're not giving in, but you are standing. You're saying, what you're doing is not right, but I am standing firm in what I believe. And that's what I hope to have accomplished for 40 Days for Life. Our Right to Life group is very active, and we're getting more support from them. And when I talk with Pat was very excited and has offered help for us too. And so, with her connections and who's there. And there's a spring campaign and a fall campaign. And the spring campaign starts in February and goes to April, but we want to be able to do the fall campaign. Weather-wise for us, that's best, really. And it starts in mid-September and ends in November, right before the elections. What a perfect time for us to be doing this. The information I got is from 40 Days for Life website. David Bennett, I believe, he's the founder of 40 Days for Life, and he just started with a small group. And then it just started to grow and grow and grow. And it's in countries like Australia, New Zealand, it's in Europe, it's in Germany, it's in Britain, it's in England. It's really expanded and just grown. And when you're on the website too, if you go on the website and look it up, they give you all kinds of witnesses from people who've been there and talked and have participated. Now, if each church takes a day, that would be wonderful, but you're not limited to that. Let's say you go out there and you just say, you know what? I just really felt the Spirit moving while I was there, and I feel I need to go back there. You can go back there. And we ask for at least 2 people at a time to participate, where 2 or more are gathered, and also just for protection wise. When we were walking, you heard horns honking and that kind of thing. That's probably what you expect. You would be expected. You might get some people who yell and shout things at you, and that's expected too. It's very controversial, but life is so precious and so important. And the women who have abortions and don't have alternatives and don't know where to turn to, this opens their eyes. 40 Days also will direct them to places, the local pregnancy centers, to places that, that have dealing with counseling for those women and men who've been hurt by abortion too. I just want to read you one more quote before I stop and let you also know we'll have a sign up in the back. There's a table right outside the doors. And if you're interested at all to find out more information, something I've said has struck you, or you might be interested in being a representative for your church, please sign the booklet afterwards. And what I want to close with is just one of the quotes that a person had written about 40 Days for Life. And what she wrote was, or he, it didn't say, the renewed hope that abortion will someday come to an end in our country because of the growing number of people getting involved and the success that we are seeing. And there is success. There is success when we get together and pray together, when we fast together. We are called to come out. And the last thing is, in the prayer that we prayed, it says, lead us to the day when this place of death will be transformed into a haven of life. And isn't that what we want to see? The clinic close. And I personally would like to see Planned Parenthood out of the area too, because as long as they're still in this area, they've got a foothold. So let's together transform that place from a place of death to a haven of life. Thank you very much.
Wouldn't it be awesome if instead of the haven of death, when that place closed, somebody started a church there and called it the Haven of Life Church? I mean, God's in the miracle business. Amen? Whew.